on WDET. I'm Robyn Vincent. Our economy has been going through big changes recently. Tariffs have made some goods more expensive. Unemployment slightly ticked up. And hiring has really changed as AI tools like ChatGPT grow in popularity. And that leaves us wondering, how are the over 900,000 small businesses in Michigan affected by this climate? What's it like for both workers and owners right now? And what should people be doing to weather all the changes? To discuss all that, we have Mark Lee here. He's the founder of the Lee Group. He hosts several talk shows and is a blogger for Crain's Detroit. Mark, welcome back to the Metro.
Happy New Year, Robyn. Good to talk to you. Thank you for having me.
Happy New Year. So in the middle of December, we learned that the unemployment rate ticked up ever so slightly to 4.6% from 4.4%. Now, that doesn't seem like much, but it moved to its highest level since 2021. What was your reaction to these unemployment numbers?
Yeah, I was somewhat surprised, but then again, as I thought about it, not too surprised. And by the way, Michigan's unemployment rate is higher than the national average.
Right.
And I think, my as I think about the unemployment rate and process it, we're seeing some structural shifts in the economy. So, for example, manufacturing continues. There's still cutbacks in manufacturing, if you will. And the structural changes is exactly what we referenced. We're going from being a manufacturing country, for the lack of a better phrase, particularly here in Michigan and Detroit area, to one that's much more diversified, that's focused on technology. And so some of the skill sets that people have are still primarily in the manufacturing arena, but the market is shifting to the technology, i.e., artificial intelligence, for example, and if people are not properly prepared, they're not going to find a job in this new space. So therefore, the unemployment rate will continue to increase moving forward.
And as you noted, Michigan's rate is higher than the national average. In fact, Michigan's unemployment rate is still the fifth highest in the nation. And so for you, that speaks to the need to really diversify industry, to embrace more technological industry, hard and soft technology, I'm guessing.
That's correct. And let's just be matter of fact about it. Our days, we will always be a manufacturing giant, right, in the state of Michigan. But the bottom line is the skill sets, the demands will continue to evolve, will continue to change. And unless businesses adapt to that changing environment, the unemployment rate will continue to be higher than the national average. And you might say, Mark, why are we higher than the national average? Again, our economy is still manufacturing dependent. We are becoming more diversified. And so until we shift accordingly, the unemployment rate will continue to tick higher than what the national rate is. The other thing that's impacting us are certainly the tariffs.
Yeah.
Right. The tariffs have had an impact. I was prepping for this conversation. And as a result, we're expecting that 13,000 jobs in the manufacturing sector could be lost as a result of the tariffs. And let that sink in. Another 13,000 jobs could be lost as a result of the tariffs because you're talking about higher production costs. You're still talking about tight inventory. And so therefore, again, that's going to continue to drive the unemployment rate up. So we have two things that are working here, a structural shift in the economy and also tariffs. And we have the perfect storm for the unemployment rate in Michigan still being higher than the national rate.
I mean, you're just touching the surface here, though, talking about how this could affect manufacturing. What about food prices being up in part because of tariffs? I mean, I'm thinking about how that's going to affect, let's say, restaurants and the food and beverage industry, and then, of course, families.
Absolutely. I don't know about you. I ate out a lot this holiday season.
Yes, regrettably, right?
regrettably. But I would tell you that food prices are certainly up. And when we're talking about food prices, we're not just talking about groceries. I mean, there's a lot of conversations about, inflation and food prices at the grocery stores. But to your point, Robyn, going to restaurants, the prices are higher. And I went to a restaurant this weekend and got a very basic breakfast. And I would tell you the price of my breakfast for a basic meal all in, including a tip, was between $20 and $25. And I remember not too long ago, I probably would have gotten something similar for $10 to $15. And so we're seeing an increase at the restaurants. We're seeing increases starting at the grocery stores. You're seeing as you're purchasing your clothes because we're importing all of these items. And as a result, the business has to make a decision. Do I pass that increase in terms of the cost as a result of tariffs directly to the customer, or do I eat that cost? And if you're a small business, chances are you're going to pass it on to the customer because you don't have the same financial resources. If you're a larger organization, you might, in fact, eat the cost. But I saw a report over the weekend where now larger businesses are beginning to pass the cost on to customers as well.
And this really speaks to a moment of desperation in our economy, because there were a number of small business owners that I spoke with several months ago who were quite reluctant to pass on the cost to customers. And so you're saying they're doing that now, and even some of these larger businesses who had the power, the spending power to not pass on that cost, now they are too.
That's correct. And as I referenced, I saw a study over the weekend where 80% of all businesses try to absorb the cost. However, that number, they're going to be shifting the cost. In other words, they're not going to absorb the cost. Now they're going to shift the cost to the customers. So we are in very unprecedented times. And I think I would recommend to consumers, make sure that you're certainly shopping. Make sure that you're certainly looking at the prices. If you're a business owner, make sure you continue to diversify the product offerings that you are offering right now. Are there other ways that you can reduce the cost? Can you offer special promotions? Can you offer bundled products if you're offering a tangible product? If you're a service, negotiate with your vendors, negotiate with your suppliers. So there are ways to navigate this, but you need to become much more judicious. You need to stay on top of exactly what's happening in the economy and making sure that you have full transparency with your customers. Don't try to hide anything. Customers want transparency. If you do those things, I think that will help you begin to navigate some of these uncertain times that we're currently in.
I mean, we're talking about a lot of the ripple effects here, and this has me wondering about people wanting to start up a business in this climate and how much that desire has been quelled because of the economic climate. I mean, what have you found to be the most successful in terms of businesses that are opening up right now? And are you hearing from folks who are stepping back and saying, I was thinking about it and now I'm not going to do it? And that's in the last minute we have here.
Absolutely. I'm hearing from people who are stepping back. They want to start a business, but they're very reticent because of these economic times. If you're thinking about starting a business, I would recommend that you focus on a service-related industry, something such as technology. We talked a lot about AI, right? Something like a consulting practice, for example. You have intellectual property. In other words, have a much more specialized product or service that you can focus on. The manufacturing industry, while it's been our lifeblood for years, that's going to be an area that's going to continue to struggle. So make sure that you look at opportunities for growth in healthcare and technology as you move forward.
But at the same time, AI is replacing people's jobs or is increasingly going to do so. Do you worry about that?
I think that you need to embrace AI. There's a lot of concern that it's going to replace jobs. I think the only jobs, people, if they embrace it, if they can leverage it fully to their extent, short term, their job is going to be okay. Longer term, I can't predict the future. Do I have concerns about some replacement? Absolutely, which is why people need to continue to educate themselves and basically, look at how they can adapt in a new economy, for lack of a better phrase.
Mark Lee is the founder of the Lee Group. He hosts several talk shows and is a blogger for Crain's Detroit. Mark, thanks for joining me on the Metro.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back on the Metro. Stay with us.